Ta-da! Hello, everybody. How you doing? Oh, that's a little bright, isn't it? Let's turn that down. Yeah, that's a little better. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here. It is Wednesday. Couldn't be with you last Wednesday. That's still very bright, isn't it? Couldn't be with you last Wednesday because I was the host at a celebration for the charity and the kids that I support, the Wattsville Brook Youth Symphony. And the kids performed, and a bunch of amazing artists also performed, and it was a good time was had by all. So let's say hello, Levon. How you doing? Christina Frank, what's going on? Mary Claire Garcia. Hope you still love your demo. Brian J. Howard and Randy Morrison. Hey, Randy, how you doing? And Veronica Dillard. And I know some people out there are not here because they're hopefully out with their kids, taking them trick-or-treating. But I know some of you that aren't here, that ordinarily are here in our costume someplace and taking care of your own tricks and treats, if you know what I mean. All right. Hey, Randy's down in Texas. And I had a couple things I wanted to talk about and remind people of. Let a few more people get going here. If you haven't noticed, it's probably too late. I'm doing a free workshop at Sag-Aftra, voiceover for video games. It's going to be this coming Tuesday, November 5th. And, of course, the Don LaFontaine Lab from 6 p.m. to 8:30. And if you tried to sign up and you weren't able to because that class fills up, one of the things I love about Sag-Aftra, they offer these free classes. They have just wonderful performers and teachers who come in and share their experience, talent, and knowledge. And it's all free. You know, they're not paying us, and you're not paying them. Yeah, I guess you do enough of that in dues. You have to be a SAG-AFTRA member, but you can click on and sign in. And there are a number of different voiceover people, for those of you who are interested strictly in voiceover, who share their talents. So check on the VoiceOver Lab all the time. I think you can subscribe to them and find out what they're doing all the time. But anyway, I'll be there Tuesday. And if it's too late, you signed up, you tried, or you're going to try, put yourself on the waiting list. Let them know you'd like to have me come back because it fills up every time. And I think there are only 12 or 15 spaces. Charity James, what's going on? Michael Halliday, what's happening? Derek Dorsey, Kyle Goodnight, great to see you. Michael Glover, you're going to be at the Voice Arts Awards. Well, thank you. That was a great segue. Another thing I wanted to mention is today is the last day to get discount tickets to That's Voiceover and the Voice Arts Awards. And if you don't go to the Voice Arts Awards, you should at least go to That's Voiceover. It is one of my two favorite voiceover conferences. The two are very different, but they are both very, very good. I had a question from somebody today. He'd sent me a private message asking if it was worth it for him to go to SOVA's and That's Voiceover because he had entered a job he had done and he was nominated for an award and just wondered if it was worth flying out here to do it. And it's definitely worth flying out here to do it. And of course, if you live here, so much the better. Also, I want to say hey to Trey Mosley. Don't know if he's on or listening right now. Probably not. But my buddy Trey had a conversation earlier in the week or late last week. Someone went on a rant on Facebook about how voiceover conventions only want your money and the people that are there only want your money. And you really shouldn't go. You're being conned and this and that and the other. And I posted there, well, I think that's a sham. Maybe you can't go to all of them, but you should go to some, and there are so many good reasons why. One, you're going to find knowledgeable people that have been doing this, and not just the voiceover work itself, but how to find work in the work, how to find an agent in the work, what good equipment is there and how to use it. Just tons and tons and tons of information. And you get to meet what's most important, the people. People are your greatest resource. You might be signed up with this agent or that agent, but guess what? When that agent leaves, if you had a good relationship, chances are you're thinking about going with that agent too. People are your best resource. You're not buying a name brand, although we think we are, but we're buying the people behind the name brand. And sometimes a company gets sold, it's different people. Wow, this chocolate bar doesn't taste the same anymore because of the people. There are a lot of great people that are going to be at That's Voiceover. And just getting to meet people who are going through what you are going through. Your wife, your husband, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends who aren't in this business do not necessarily understand what you do. They hear you on a cartoon, oh yeah, that's my buddy. They hear you on a commercial, oh, that's great. But they don't know the ups and downs, the effort that you have put in. It'd be like my mom used to be, well, honey, I saw this show and you'd be so good on that. Why don't you just call them up and get on that show? And I'm sure a number of you have had that experience with friends and family. It doesn't work that way. You have to work hard. I know you do because I know how I do. I know what I did. You're working hard. You're putting in the effort. You're spending money with people like myself, taking lessons, private coaching, online courses. And nowadays, you even have to learn how to be a business person and a marketer, especially if you do not have an agent. There are people that go to school and get degrees in marketing, and some of us are expected to do it without any of that. It can be tough. A little overwhelming. So I suggest that you go. You'll learn a lot of things. You'll meet some new friends, see old friends, and nowadays, as we're all hobbits in I was going to say hermits, but I like hobbits better. Hobbits in our studios, our home studios, it's a good chance to get out and see your coworkers and your friends. So join me, will you? I'll be there. And by the way, they don't pay me for that. I'll be there. I don't get paid for this. None of the people who are presenting get paid going to That's Voiceover. So just so you know. Let's see if anybody has any questions here so I can stop rambling. All right, Veronica Diller's going to be there. DJ K, congrats on your new release. Oh, The Devil in You. That's a good one. In case you missed it, there is a new game out. It's called After Party. It's very funny. Two millennials about to graduate from college die. We don't know how they died, and they end up in hell. I wonder why they ended up in hell. Anyway, they discover that there is an out. If they can outdrink the devil, they can go back to their lives. And, of course, yours truly plays the devil. It's a fun game. It's getting great reviews. I had a great time doing it. And it's available on Xbox and PS4. I think you'll love it. Anyway. Hey, Veronica Dillard, I was selected a top 30 finalist for the CBS 2 promo. That's another really good thing that happens at That Voiceover. They have that contest lined up with a local station, in this case CBS here, where you get to do a promo. You get to do some work, and it'll be a contest. Several people who entered the finals will get to work with somebody like myself. I've been a judge. None of my people have won, but I'm not bitter. You'll get to work with somebody like myself, a Joe Cipriano, people who actually do this for a living, and get up there and do your thing. And it's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking things in the world because you are on stage with 4 or 5 judges behind you, and you're there with the microphone and the script and the stand, and in front of you, 400 or 500 people watching and listening to your every word. Crazy. No, where was it? Congratulations, Veronica. Good luck. Michael Halliday, who did you get to meet at Walker Stalker? How was it? Well, Michael, people were coming to meet me at Walker Stalker. Yeah, I met a number of people from the TV show. Not as many as I have in the past. I had gotten to meet many of the stars of the show over the years at Walker Stalker and other conventions. This Walker Stalker had some financial issues, apparently. There's been some Facebook comments, very negative. I'm not sure if fair to the producer of the show, but there was some controversy. And I know there was some controversy because I had signed a contract to go months and months ago. And 2 weeks before, I still hadn't gotten a plane ticket or hotel reservations. And finally, hey, you guys, what's up? Oh, no, we're getting it together. Don't worry. Well, I got my ticket. I was supposed to leave on Thursday night or Thursday afternoon, Thursday night or Friday morning. At 10 o'clock, I got an email. Hey, can you make a 2 o'clock flight today? Fortunately, I could. And Walker Stalker was very good for me. I met a lot of fans. But it had some issues. I hope they'll be able to continue because the fans love it. There were people there that came from all over the world, Australia, Europe, and all parts of the United States. All right. Christian Von Ross, what's up, John? Adilla, DK, Alex, Wood, what's going on, man? Get those questions in. Bob Gore, Michael Kinsey. Thank you, Michael, for submitting me for the audio book that I narrated. Yes, Dave Fennoy, who famously says, I've voiced 3 audio books. I hope to never voice a 4th. And when I say it's because it's too much work for too little money, it's just not me. If you're into it, great, but not me. And I did this one for free. But that was because of the subject matter. But thank you, Michael. I appreciate your kind of poking me to do that. Eli, how you doing? Great. Charity, quick question. I'm working on a video game this week. First day was today, and wouldn't you know, they scheduled all the screams for today. That's a little different. So a bit of a sore pipes. How do you take care of your voice while recording? Well, first of all, I'm a little concerned that they decided to do all the screaming on day one. Especially, you didn't say, Charity, whether you're going to do a session tomorrow or Friday. Ordinarily, they give you the easy stuff first. And when I say easy, I don't mean easy like the acting is easy. I mean easy like easy on your throat. They give you all of that first. Now, if you're going to be going back to see them next week sometime, okay, but I'm a little concerned that they would have you doing all the screaming on the first day. Now, about your throat, 1, stop talking. You can type your question. So stop talking. You got a significant other there. You're just, give him one of those. Get some hot tea, the tea of your choice, but you want lemon and honey in it, and preferably raw honey. There's a big difference between raw honey and the pasteurized honey. All the good stuff is still in the raw honey. In the pasteurized honey, they've gotten rid of it. So, and just be quiet. That warm, as a matter of fact, you don't even need the tea in the warm water and the hot water with the lemon and honey. But, if you got a favorite tea, go for it. And just be quiet. Just be quiet. Thank you, Michael. I see that. Jean-Francois, the Black Batman. Yeah, I read that on Facebook today. That was man, you got me. I was about to tear up too. Jean-Francois went to Dragon Con in Atlanta. I was there. I don't know why I didn't see you. Probably because you were dressed up as Black Batman. And he was getting some flack from some white folks who just couldn't see a Black Batman. That somehow this was a problem for them. I don't know why. But a little black boy saw him and was amazed and came up and spoke to him. And one of the things about growing up as a black child, more so when I was coming up than now, is when you don't see images of yourself. It's hard to feel good about yourself. You know, we are very moved. When I say we, I mean we as human beings are very moved by all the cultural things, the whispers, the odors in the air of our culture that tell us who we are. And when you don't see yourself represented on television, in movies, it can be very damaging to the psyche. When everything good seems to be for those people over there and you have everything bad. We're so much better than we used to be, despite the fact that we have some folks that would like to take everything back. But just kind of keep that in mind. Not everybody has the same experience you do, no matter who you are, what you happen to be. Anyway. Christopher Lewis, hermits stay in hobbits on the quest. I'm looking for the day I can join the fellowship. Yeah, the fellowship of the hobbits, we and our microphones. Jonathan Kennedy, Michael Scott. Good to see you too, man. Marianne Wood, questions. Mark Marino, have you ever provided voiceover to any Halloween-based episodes? Tomorrow is Halloween. I think I have. I just don't remember what. I haven't done any real Hollywood cartoony stuff, except for the Ask Dave Fennoy thing here today, in a long time. In the past, I have. This after party game is kind of cartoon, or kind of Halloween-y, but no, I haven't. I've always wanted to be Dracula. I don't know why. They won't let me be Dracula. Yeah. Alex Wood, hey, Dave, I should have union contracts in the next few days. Okay. And that is a client letting me know that my contracts for a game I'm going to be doing are going to be available for me. You never know what's going to happen on Ask Dave Fennoy, anything. By the way, a moment here for those of us that live in Southern California, and especially if you're in the fire zone. Thank you, firefighters. Be careful. They tell you to get out, get out. It's very dangerous right now. The winds were gusting up to 80 miles an hour in places. And just be careful. And if you need a place to stay, a lot of us would be happy to take you in for a day or two. All right, or 3 or more. Joshua Bailey, hi Dave. Can't wait to see you the next month at Sovas. Well, thank you. Can't wait to see you either. If you could work on any game or movie, which game or movie would you pick? You know, I'm not that picky. I've had the good fortune of working in just about all the big iconic properties. And the character that everybody knows me for the most is Lee Everett from the Walking Dead game. And it wouldn't have to be the Walking Dead game, but it would be another iconic property. It would be another iconic character. I've had the joy of being a number of Lucius Fox and some other known characters. I've been T'Challa, Black Panther's father, and a bunch of other characters in various games and video and cartoons. There's something special about Lee Everett for me, despite the fact that it's Walking Dead, that's well known. It was a new character, a character that I have created that first feeling of who this character is, no matter who else plays it in the future. That's a really good feeling. That's a really good feeling. Michael Sessoms, good evening, Dave. You sounded great tonight. Well, thank you. John Moody, good evening. What was the subject matter? The subject matter is whatever you want it to be. I'm riffing on some things that I looked up or thought about. Let's see. Jean-Francois, the Black... Oh, it wasn't you? Oh, sorry. I thought it was you. Why was I thinking it was you? Yeah. Okay, I was wrong. What makes you decide to say yes to a job offer? Is it money or the material? You know, that's a good question for an actor. And I'm going to take this a little deeper. I've had people question me sometime. Well, I want to do voiceover games, but I don't want to cuss. I want to do commercials, but I don't want to sell XYZ product. We have to understand when we go into voiceover, I'll put it like this. You're selling products that people probably don't need to buy. You're trying to convince people to watch TV shows that you don't watch. The products, maybe you don't use them. It's not about, well, this is what I do, so I'm selling that. If you do, great. If I were selling Lexuses, actually I do. What am I saying? But I've done commercials for a lot of products I don't use. I don't eat at McDonald's. I have done a number of McDonald's commercials and other fast food commercials at places that I don't eat at. You are providing a service to your client. If you're an actor, you are playing parts that aren't you. None of them. You're playing good guys, bad guys. You're playing people that are smarter than you, people that aren't as smart as you, people that would do things you would never do. That's just part of what this job is. So I don't typically look at the part and go, oh, gee, that's a bad guy. I can't play him. Or, oh, that's a good guy. He's boring. I can't play. No, I like the challenge of acting always. It's a joy for me. And the money, definitely. But there are projects that I have taken for no money. The books, March 3, that I'm nominated for a Sovas Award for. I did it because of the subject matter. I did it because I thought it was an important story. And even though I hate doing audiobooks, I did that one for no money because to me, it was a story that needed to be told, and I was honored to be asked. All right, if a newbie could go to one event a year and you don't live on the coast, which should that one event be? I would say either that's voiceover in the Sovas or VO Atlanta. One or the other. VO Atlanta lasts longer. You probably have more opportunities to meet more people from different walks of the voiceover life. You probably have more of a chance to spend more time in what he calls X sessions, learning specific things from specific people. But I wouldn't sleep on the one day that's voiceover convention because it offers a whole bunch of other things. You have, people will listen to your demo and critique it. There are contests to win jobs and equipment. There are panels and workshops that go on all day long. Get your sleep before Saturday the 15th. Both of them are really good. No matter what your race, gender, cosplay what you want. Absolutely. We live in the world we're in. And we can do our best to move it forward or not. Christopher Lewis, I got to be the Frankenstein monster for Kickstarter VO. Congratulations. Nicely done. Heard the fire was 30% contained today. Stay safe out there. Well, fortunately, I'm not in an area where the fires are particularly bad. I have been in. When I first moved to Southern California, my second house, after a month in, there was a fire. They put that one out quick, and about 2 months later, there was another fire that burned the house directly behind me and the one next to it. My house was catching on fire, but I lived up a long driveway, and the fire department didn't, they're not going to individual houses. They're, we got an alarm, let's get out here. They thought my driveway was a street, so they ran their hoses up my driveway and put my house out. I was doing, this is my last job in radio. I was doing mornings on a jazz station. And I came home. They had just put the fire out, and I got there and watched the house behind me burn to the ground. Uh, with these winds blowing the way they are, and the people who are out in these rural areas right now with lots and lots of tinder, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. I see them getting the dogs and the horses and the sheep and the goats and it's a mess out there. It's a mess. Have you ever voiced age 5 or younger? Any tips? I'm still waiting for somebody to let me play a kid. No, because I think I could play a kid, but nobody has called me to play a kid. Eli, how was it working with Telltale? Of that, they did not go bankrupt. Would you work with them? Absolutely. Different game companies are known for different things. Telltale is known as the narrative game company. This is the company that tells stories. If you're somebody who was playing the Walking Dead game, you don't have to be a video game expert. You just have to kind of make human choices. And it just takes the story here and there and here and there. I know the thing I've heard from more fans than a little bit is, A, I've never been emotionally involved with the characters in a game before, and B, the goodbye between Lee and Clem made me cry. I would do Telltale games again in a minute. Now, here's the good side of Telltale going out of business. One small good thing. There's some people who I think are buying or have bought the Telltale brand, and so Telltale may be resurrected. I hope it'll be resurrected similar to the way it was. And the people who are working at Telltale, some of them have started their own companies, and some of them are with other companies now. So the Telltale DNA is out there and still being used. Okay. Christopher Lewis, your audiobook, what was the subject matter? It was called March 1, 2, and 3, and it was about the civil rights movement, and I am playing John Lewis, telling his story as a young man and going through the civil rights movement. I'm also playing every other black leader and every racist and every president in the time, and several senators and congressmen and men and women. But it's a great story. It's a great story. Michael Sessom. There's a new Dolomite series on Netflix. Would a Dolomite video game be fun, especially with a lot of kung fu fighting? For those of you who don't know Dolomite, find a video someplace and make sure your kids ain't around. Dolomite was a 50s and 60s black comedian who was, he's a little raw. But sure, I would do that. I'd be happy to do that. It'd probably be a lot of fun. Joshua Story, hey Dave, it's been a while. First, bless our firefighters, men and women, absolutely. Second, I recently caught word that most dubbing gigs are now non-union. Is there a great deal of truth to that? There's a lot of truth to that. The anime world has never been union, and they get paid caca. Now, what they don't get paid on the job, they make up for it at conventions when they go, because the anime fans are great. But no, it should be union. A lot of the dubbing is not. For we English speakers, the dubbing world is kind of new to us. Our Spanish-speaking voiceover friends have been doing dubbing for decades. All the American shows, all the American movies, all the American cartoons, all the American, I shouldn't say American, some of them are English, but all the English-speaking video games are dubbed into other language, especially Spanish. And they really are the leaders in the industry on this. Now, we are beginning to get some dubbing from other languages into English because the world is getting smaller and smaller, and thanks to Netflix and Amazon and YouTube and some of the other online companies. There are hit shows in other countries that rather than just reproduce them here, they are hiring American or English-speaking actors now to dub those shows into English. So it's kind of a new category for us, and most of it at the moment is non-union. Now, we do have some ADR work that is union. If you're going to be voice matching somebody for a movie for a couple of scenes or a trailer, that's union. But the dubbing business in general, is that this light that is shining so brightly on my face and hair makeup. But for we Americans, it's pretty new. It's pretty new. Hopefully it'll become under the guidance of the union. Speaking of which, I noticed on Facebook today, radio station WHYY in Philly has voted 99% for all the content producers there to join Sag-Aftra. So maybe we're turning this thing around for the workers of America. It's all right, Brian, late to the party, so you're here. Isabella Tugman, how you doing? John Moody, that was my Alfred Hitchcock, good evening. But how were you supposed to know that? Okay. My booking has been few and far between. It's gotten me down, but I went to a workshop this past weekend that really inspired me to the point where I'm not going to worry about booking. I know that's the point of all this, but I'm not working. But not working can get you down. I hope this doesn't sound like a defeatist attitude, but I really have fun auditioning, and it becomes less fun when I think about how much I'm booking. Thoughts? You know, I've said often that our real job is to audition, that's the real work, is making sure our auditions are perfect, that our auditions are just undeniable. And also understand that no matter how undeniable your audition is, it can be denied. It's very hard when our bookings are connected to our well-being in so many ways, in terms of paying our bills and putting food on the table, getting our kids through school and college and clothes on their back. So, yeah, it can be really tough when you're not booking. And I promise you, I have been that. And I'll tell you something, the more money you make, the more money you spend. So when you have a letdown, you got greater responsibilities. So you can feel a whole lot of pressure, whether, you just didn't have anything and your hoopty won't start, or whether you're driving a very expensive car, living in a very expensive house, and now the money that you were paying for that expensive car and expensive house is gone, and you're not sure how to handle it. None of us are billionaires. There's a few millionaires amongst us, but none of us are billionaires. We are still working class, no matter how well or not well we're doing. So I get that. When I have been, in 2008, when the economy crashed, my two biggest clients went out of business, and that was 60-70% of my income. And it was tough because I had, like a lot of Americans, I'd over-leveraged myself to send kids to school and that kind of thing, do some remodeling on the house. And suddenly I couldn't meet my obligations. I had to sell off, stock, use savings and whatnot, and finally sell the house. And because the price had dropped, I made no. Moved into a condo for a couple of years, and took me a couple of years to get back and get in a new house. Some people never come back. But every time I've been on a dip, and everybody's career goes like this, up and down. Fortunately, mine has gone up and down and up and up and up. But whenever I've been in a dip, I've tried to imagine and conjure and pray about, if I got this gig, this would save me. Every time that I felt like, oh gosh, I'm just not working enough, something came, but I could not have imagined what it would have been. It's always been something that I had no idea was going to happen, and then it did. Hulu was kind of like that. Hulu came around just about the time the economy crashed for me, about 2007, 2008. And the Hulu gig, being a Hulu guy at the time I got it, it was brand new. It was really a few $100s a month. But within a couple of years, it was some serious money. And it was serious money for 8 years. And that really helped me out getting back on my feet. But I tell you the other things I did. I realized then, because I had not been promoting myself, I realized then that I had to get involved with social media. I had to do the things I did when I came to LA and started my career to continue my career. Always be looking for new business. Always be looking for new business. You don't know where your blessing is going to come from. Have your cards ready. Just tell people, oh yeah, I do voiceover for a living. That's how I got the Hulu gig. I was at a party sitting next to a guy who, if the girl he was interested in had been talking to him, which she wasn't, because she wasn't interested in him, he asked me, what do you do for a living? I said, oh, I do voiceover. Oh, well, there's this new thing about to happen. It's called Hulu. They're looking for a voice. Send me your email address and I'll send you an audition. You don't know where your blessings are going to come from. All right, but your blessings are coming. Believe that. That was a friend, Alfred Hitchcock. Point where I'm going to. Okay, yeah, it was it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on voiceover contests? Well, they're. I'll put it this way. I think if you're nominated for an Oscar, if you're nominated for any kind of award, you're already a winner. I think generally what happens with voiceover contests and other kinds of contests amongst artists like ourselves, I consider myself an artist, that the fact that you're being recognized enough that you've been nominated is a big feather in your cap. The person that is chosen isn't necessarily better than you or worse than you, or they were just the person that's chosen, just like your booking. You may have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful audition. It's so you, it's so perfect, it's so right. But they chose somebody else because that person, something that they were doing spoke to them. You're auditioning for a cartoon. Maybe your audition was great, but your voice doesn't fit as well with the rest of the cast. Same way with a video game. Sometimes it's because, you're up against me in a video game and I booked it because they go, oh yeah, it's Dave Fennoy, we know we can do it. But then maybe you book it because they go, oh, it's Dave Fennoy, he's been on so much stuff. Let's get a new voice. You don't necessarily know why you're going to book what you're going to book. Your job is to keep turning in great auditions. Sooner or later, somebody is going to choose you. You will be the one selected. And I know for a lot of things that I've done in video game world-wise, the part I auditioned for did not get, but they liked the audition, so they hired me for another part. Just keep turning in great auditions, and sooner or later, you're going to get booked, hopefully sooner, and a lot. Krista, geez, let's the house burn, man. Save them locks. People ask me if my voice is insured, but I'm going to insure my locks. When agents send auditions, does the company expect you to sound studio quality? I know I need to improve my equipment. We're a little more forgiving now as a society of sound and audio, and video, but less forgiving of audio. You can watch a movie that isn't shot that well and still enjoy it if the video is right and the story's good. But if the movie's shot wonderfully and the audio sucks, you're out of there. So make sure your audio is good. And Veronica, you say you need to improve your equipment. Not knowing what you have, maybe it's not the equipment. Maybe it's your sound chain, something in it. It could be the chords. It could be how you have things adjusted. This is where you want to call somebody like a George Whittam, and check in and have him take a look at your studio. It's well worth the money you'd spend to make sure that your sound chain is good. One of the things that happens nowadays a lot is you do an audition, you send it in, your agent calls you and goes, "Oh yeah, you booked that thing," and when's the session? And he goes, "Oh yeah, well they're gonna use your audition." Whoa, cool, okay, love it. So make sure your auditions, you're doing a commercial. It's supposed to be a 30, make it 29.5. It's supposed to be a 60. Make it, 59.5. All right. Matt. What's up, Michigan Matt? I entered a Silvis Award contest, and it ended October 30th, hoping I am one of the 20 finalists. Well, I'm going to actually say, well, I don't know, maybe if it's the Silvis, if it's for an award, I think you would already know, but maybe, I think you would already know. Michigan Matt, I think you would already know. But I'm wishing you good luck. And Michigan Matt sent me a note that I just saw. I think he sent it a while ago. And Michigan Matt, I'm just going to say, man, don't take everything so personally. Don't take everything so personally. John Moody, Eddie Murphy has a great biopic of Dolomite on Netflix. Ah, okay, great. I'll probably check it out. Perflection de la Zealot. Hello, I am an aspiring audio engineer and music artist. I make hip-hop and R&B. However, I like to make beats that are more cinematic. How do you get instrumentals into the right hands to be heard? I have been told my sound would fit games as well. Ideas? An area I'm probably not qualified to talk about, but here goes. What I would suggest is if you'd like to do beats for video games, I would get on LinkedIn and find myself, audio producers for video games, and get to them. Let them hear what you're doing. Develop some relationships there. Get a list of video game companies. Call them or email them, find out who their mixers and producers are, who chooses the music, who's the sound design and music guy or gal, and get in touch with them and get your stuff to them. It's basically, footwork and computer work and telephone calls. Donovan, what's up, man? You are on fire, brother. You are on fire. So glad, so glad. Christopher Lewis, Rudy Ray Moore's Dolomite. Yep. Mom had all the LPs. Your mama had all the LPs, boy? What you trying to say about your mama? Every colorful metaphors. Yeah, colorful metaphors. I like that. Extremely useful when I was at active duty on board ship in the Navy. Thanks, Mom. John Groves, what's up, man? Mason, how you doing? Pamela, Reggie. All these amazing VO artists here, Debbie Harada, Donovan. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's one of the best things about doing this is my friends and voiceover family checking in. And there's a lot of people here that will, jot some answers down and make some comments down to the questions that others are asking. Or sharing that information. It's one of the best things about the voiceover community. Alex Wood, me and my uncle watched Killing Them Softly, the Dave Chappelle special, and we heard you announce him. Always funny to realize new place to work could come from. Yeah, they've been playing that for a while. I've done a lot of in-show announce and show announce and a lot of comedy, especially black comedy. Michael Glover, I'm sure ready for some job blessings as well. Aren't we all? Let's put our hands together. Put your hands on the radio, dear friends, and pray for a job. All right. Susan Bernard, Camilla, how are you? Diego, what's going on? Oh, thanks for the hug, Diego. Uh, said the deadline October 31st. Okay. Another Christopher, you're right about studio quality. The theater screwed up the audio for Dark Knight. They had Hardy sounding like Bela Lugosi simulcast from inside his holy grave. Had to get the Blu-ray, and watch out at home to understand all of his dialogue. Yeah, audio quality actually is more important these days than video quality. Rama Rodriguez, what's going on, man? Hey, Dave, my primary job is freelance video editing, and just for kicks, I put together a little compilation of some video game voice work that I've done. It had me wondering if there is a market for video compilation demos for voice actors in gaming. Think that's feasible? Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a guy that used to do it for me, and he's disappeared. The way it's done, all your work is someplace on YouTube because some fan or video game player has posted it. And you need somebody to pull that together for you. Yeah, there's definitely work for you doing video game demos, video demos for people who are working in video games. Definitely. Jump on that. All right. Well, let's see. We're getting close here to the end. I had a couple other things I was going to mention. I was noticing some of my VO peeps talking agents versus no agents. And we're living in a time where voiceover's kind of in the wild, wild west right now. I had the good fortune of coming up completely in the agent world. And a lot of you are not in the agent world. You're in the pay-to-play world. Some of you may be in the Fiverr world. And there may be some of you that are a little bit in both. I kind of monitor the pay-to-play sites, but I rarely audition for them. But I like the agent world. I'm really hoping the agent world doesn't go away for a couple of reasons. One, the play-to-pay site world, they are not on our side. We are the food that they're feeding to their clients, who are the people supposedly buying our services. And the play-to-play sites are selling our services to them as cheaply as they can. Our agent is living on 10%. So our agents automatically want to get as much money for us as they can because that gets that upped 10% for them. We typically have much more of a personal relationship with our agent than we do with the pay-to-play site. We may not, understand why we're not getting booked, just like you might not understand why you're not getting booked with the pay-to-play site, but you have somebody you can call and talk to and find out, well, how can I help you help me? Always remember, your agent is working for you. They are invested in your success. The pay-to-play sites, you're paying them money to be there. You're paying them money when you get a job. You're paying more money to have your auditions listed first, or even more money to have them listed before the people that they've said they're going to list first. And then they're still going to take 10, 20% of that job. I know one of the practices of voices.com. Somebody calls with a $10,000 job. They put it up for bid. Maybe you bid $2,000 and you get the job. But that other $8,000, they're keeping. Should have been yours. Your agent negotiates for you. Always trying to negotiate more. Your agent has been in the business. They've handled more negotiations than you have. So they better have a better understanding of it, and you don't have to look like the bad guy. Then they handle your booking, your schedule. You're likely to get more high-profile jobs through an agent than through the pay-to-play sites. Once again, 10%. They only get 10%. And And don't forget, agents are people too. They are impressed by your talent. They're going to like you as a person. They want to be treated well. They have loves and fears and insecurities. Treat them like people. Hello, hey, how you doing? You don't get that with the pay-to-play sites. You don't get humanity. So I'm praying, and at some point I'll retire. But I'm praying for those of you who have a long career ahead of you, that you get to have more of a agent-like experience than the pay-to-play site experience. What's the difference between an agent and a manager? Agents usually have more clients. Managers, and I think there's difference in the licensing. Managers handle fewer clients. They might get more money, and a lot of times managers are getting, say, 10% of whatever you do. But they typically have more time to spend on you than your agent does. Excuse me. Yeah, let's hear it for hardworking agents. Thank you, Debbie Hirata. Almost missed it. What's up, brother? Been thinking about you today. I miss Pops. Can you share any thoughts on him? Are we talking about John Witherspoon there, Kevin? I'm assuming that's it. One of America's greatest comedians and a really good guy. I can't say that I knew him well, but ran into him often in the studios with cartoons. John Witherspoon. My first introduction to him was Friday. And playing the father and coordinate. You got to coordinate. He was just a funny guy. If you ran into him when he wasn't on stage, on being funny, he was very quiet, warm, but very quiet. He'd be sitting there doing nothing, and now it's his turn to go, and before you know it, your sides are irking, your cheeks are sore from laughing, and he will be missed. Rest in peace. And I guess with that, just a couple more things. A reminder, I'm doing that free workshop at Sag-Aftra, Don LaFontaine Lab on Tuesday, November 5th. I bet the tickets are all gone, but sign up anyway and put yourself on the waiting list. And that way, if somebody else drops out, you might drop in. And, they asked me to do it from time to time, and it'll be a reminder to get me back in sooner. It costs you nothing, but it's a good way to learn. Take advantage of your union. Private lessons, sell me, Dave Fennoy. Private lessons, private coaching, DaveFennoy.com. Click on the voiceover tab, and I'll be also sharing some information soon about some of the workshops I'm going to be doing in different places. And so keep your ears open. And I will see you next Wednesday. All the best. Until then, be in good